This past week, we started our mandate to be back in the office. We're invited to be on site for 4 days a week now. It used to be basically a remote job, hybrid, but only went in really once a week before. But now we're in person 4 days a week. And so things have started happening, right? Conversations I wasn't keyed in on, I'm now a part of because you get to be in a room full of people you wouldn't typically be in a room full of. And one of the conversations I came up with this week was football. The NFL season, news to me, I had no idea, is starting up here. Or maybe it's already started. I don't know. So naturally, people started talking about Taylor Swift. It's funny. I feel like a lot of older dudes, they're always complaining about, like, why is Taylor Swift in our sport? What is she doing here? Why are they always showing her? And then anytime they talk about football, they bring her up. I'm like, she wasn't in this conversation until you brought her here. She doesn't want to be here either. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. She doesn't want to be here. The same way you don't want her around, she doesn't want you around. You both want nothing to do with each other. So stop talking about it. Every time she's on the screen, right? They will flash to her now that she and Travis Kelce are engaged. That's right. Don't know much about football, but I know about pop culture. And every time they flash Taylor Swift up on that screen, drinking her light beer, just don't make a comment. Let it happen. Let her have her 4 seconds of fame. God knows she needs it, right? It's not like she's doing big things. No one really knows who she is. Let her have that free marketing, okay? That's why she's dating Travis Kelce or engaged to Travis Kelce. She's doing it for the marketing purposes. They don't actually love each other. As we see, Taylor Swift is incapable of loving another man, right? Because she's had all those boyfriends. Hey, Mark, aren't you on your third divorce? Let's clue in on that, huh? And how many best-selling albums have you made, huh? Where's Mark's version? All right. But I'm in these conversations, and I was genuinely curious. You're on site so you can learn. So, I'll start learning. So I asked, sincerely, this group of adult men, I said, can I have the real answer? Why is it that, like, grown-ups get so upset when they show Taylor Swift? Like, what's the reasoning behind that? And a gentleman explained to me, he said, well, the sport of football in the NFL is getting so soft nowadays. There's an agenda. They're making it softer out there. They're making them wear more padding, more safety regulations, all that. And it feels like Taylor Swift being paraded around is just making that push for it to be more soft. It's just pushing the NFL in that direction even more. I was like, oh, really? Is that it? Okay. I was like, I actually agree. Yeah. I don't like that football players are making it past 50. If you think about it, I don't like that they're on podcasts. Like the fact that I can see Tom Brady on a podcast, right? Didn't he go on Impulsive or whatever? The fact that I've never watched the Impulsive podcast, but I've seen clips of it, and it's funny because basically my only impression of it is that they get uber famous people on there. They make them try Prime, and they're like, "What do you think of it?" And I have to see them like choke it down. No, it was really good actually. No, can you send a whole case home with me so I can throw it out and save someone else from drinking that shit? What the fuck was that? That's basically what the Impulsive podcast is. And the fact that Tom Brady can go on to podcasts and be articulate is fucked up. I don't think that football players should have it all together. And what is it? Their consciousness. That's what it is. I don't think they should have one. Like I said, I don't like seeing football players live past 50. They should have CTE. They should be confused one afternoon, right? Wake up from a nap and then be like, I'm going to murder suicide my family. That's what should happen. I agree. I think football is getting too soft. I don't like that they're doing all this stuff. And if Taylor Swift is doing it too, then damn her, I say. Shame on her. But I don't like, these football players being safe. It means that they didn't leave it out on the field. Like I said, the fact that Tom Brady's walking around talking very articulately means that he didn't get as much out of his career as he could have. But you see Gronk, right, doing FanDuel ads, and he's just stumbling all over those things. And you're like, see, now that's a guy that gave it all up. He has no life after this sport, which is, that's good. As a viewer, right, these are our modern day gladiators. If I find out the modern day gladiator knows anything about mental health and like has hobbies, how am I going to look up to my gladiator? How am I going to look up to these Spartans of today when I go to my little office job and type in Excel documents? I need these role models putting that all on the line. I need them throwing away their life the same way I am. We're kind of the same person, right? I mean, they go, to a field and get trucked by other grown men, and that's how they lose their mind. And I just sit in fluorescent beige cubes all day, and that's how I lose my mind. But we have the same struggle, right? We're losing our mind at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how we lost it. So that's something I learned. I learned that Taylor Swift is pushing the soft agenda in the NFL, and I had no idea. So thank God I'm on site to learn stuff like that. But really, I can't talk about all the stuff that happens on site, right? Because you're with a bunch of grown ass adults, and I would say most of the stuff they say that's not work related, you can't repeat. If I said any of that stuff that I heard this week online, YouTube would shut my account down. They'd be like, what the fuck is he saying? No, 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 that's bad. But on the way to my, get a granola bar from the vending machine, that's some shit I'll just hear. But you're not supposed to talk about that stuff on here, right? And on the internet, I don't get why this happens. I don't know how influencers are so comfortable talking about their friends. I saw a TikTok this week. This girl was talking about, oh my God, guys, she has her phone right here, right? Oh my God, guys, I just got to be honest, I will cancel plans last minute. I'm just that kind of person, I'm gotten to that age, in my 30s, where if I can't be bothered, I won't be bothered. So my friend is actually outside, and they texted me, they said, hey, are you ready to go? And I just said, no, and I'm not going to go. And I was like, that's crazy. Because sure, that's a thing you can do, but didn't put it on the internet. Because now that friend, right, they just got your cancellation text. You're like, oh, fuck. And they're probably going to go to, their digital vape TikTok and start scrolling a little bit to, take the edge off. And they're going to see your TikTok that says, you know what, guys, I feel no remorse for not hanging out with my friend and canceling last minute. I don't get how influencers do that. They talk very candidly about their personal life. And I'm like, do you not think that's going to get back around to them? See, I'm lucky, right? Only 10 people listen to my podcast. The number goes down every week. And I can basically say whatever I want, and it won't get around to the individual. But even so, when I tell stories about people in my real life, I leave out details. I frequently will change the time of the story, some of the contents of the story, and the gender of the person I'm telling the story about, because I don't want anyone to listen to this, right? Happen upon it, misclick, and be like, wait a minute, what he's describing is exactly our conversation. He's talking about me. But there are people online with thousands, millions of followers just talking about their very intimate real life relationships with no remorse, and I don't get it. Do they not think of the repercussions? But I do, so I'm not going to talk about the specifics of anything I talk about at work. And so there's also things in my real life, right, that I don't talk about here because I'm like, I don't want to talk about that here. What if they listen to this? Like just the other week, I had a friend, right? We were all hanging out, this friend group, and one of the friends said, hey guys, big news, we're trying for a kid. And I was like, oh my God, wow, we all were like, that's so big, congratulations. But I'm not going to talk about that on here because the age-old joke, right? It's a tired take, but it's true. My friend basically admitted to the group of 8 of us that, hey, I'm coming into my wife non-stop. We're trying for a kid. We're banging it out at every moment we can. Well, whenever the timing lines up, right? When I don't got to stay late at the office. But I don't want to talk about that here. And if I was to talk about it on here, I'd make it so vague that you wouldn't even know who I'm talking about. This person could hear this story and they wouldn't know it's about them. But I wouldn't talk about that on here because I don't want to tell you that my friend is repeatedly coming in his wife. No movies in that household, but let me tell you what, there's plenty of climaxing going on, right? That's the story they tell. And I'm hoping, they get a happy conclusion. But that's the thing. They don't need to say shit like that, right? Don't, tell me when you have a cake. Don't tell me when you're mixing all the ingredients and doing the baking, okay? I don't care about that. When you have a cake, be like, hey guys, I have cake, come over, and then I'll come over. But don't tell us that you're coming over your wife. Okay. But it's crazy, it was game night. And then, you got to hear that and be like, right, so, hey, do you still have interest in Park Place or can I buy that off you? And they're like, actually, no, yeah, you can take Park Place. I actually see that working for you. And they hand me the card, it's all sticky. I was like, all right, well, someone doesn't have good aim, now do they? But I can't talk about stuff like that. I don't tell intimate stories of my daily life because I don't want to bring real life shit onto here. So I do ridiculous bits. That's my specialty. That's my secret sauce. And what's my friend's secret sauce? Or so far, defective. Hoping for good things. But I was on site and I observed things. I said I was going to talk about it here. What are things that I'm exposed to on site that I haven't been because I've been basically remote for the past 4 years? Well, I woke up that morning, right? It was Tuesday this past week, first day on site. And I woke up, right? Set my alarm for 6 a.m., but I woke up at 5:30 because I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was a sign, a portent of the day, but it was a cloudy, smoky, rainy, hot morning. And it started off with thunder. That's right, I woke up to thunder at 5:30 a.m. And that shit was loud as fuck. I legitimately thought half of the building I'm in collapsed. I woke up, peered out my one eye, and this is when I know I'm not built for this human condition because I don't have good instincts. I don't have good reflexes when it comes to like what should I do here because this has happened, right? I talked about a few months ago. A bird ran into my window. It legitimately sounded like a gunshot. But what I did was just lie in bed and be like, something worse was going to happen. It would have happened by now. And I just sit there. And the same thing with the thunder. I legitimately thought like half the building I'm in just collapsed. And I was like, I could just walk out my room and maybe investigate and see if everything's okay. But I was like, but what am I? That's just going to upset me, right? I'll deal with that when I deal with it. If anything's bad, it won't be bad. It won't really matter if I find out 30 minutes from now, right? So let's just get a little bit of fourth quarter shut eye, before this big long work day. And then I checked the Ring doorbell app. I have a Ring doorbell. And I went on the app, the community tab where people are talking about it, and everyone was talking about it. They're like, did you hear the thunder? Did you hear the thunder? All the cars around us their alarms started going off. It's kind of like when there's a tornado coming and then all the dogs start barking. You're like, what is it, boy? What is it? Except it's cars. And there was a disturbance in the force. I bet they were all Teslas that went off, right? Because Elon probably has like a self-report function in his Teslas. If there's ever like too much turbulence, make the car alarm go off. It was, right? You think, oh, that's great, right? Tells you when there's going to be an earthquake or something. But no, that was actually a function to prevent people fucking in cars. He found that was a big problem. People were doing it in the Tesla headquarters parking lot. So he's like, I'm going to make this. I'm gonna put a condom on that whole operation in a way. So that's anti-shake is incorporated in every Tesla. Read the manual. I bet you won't. But then I go to my kitchen, right, and I cook up breakfast, and I've made hundreds of sun-side-up eggs, right? So then tell me why. This morning, right? Thunder's woken me up early. I'm already groggy, going over to the kitchen, cooking up some eggs. Tell me why. After hundreds of sun-side-up eggs, this one exploded on me. Here's a picture. It cooked fine, right? I went over to transfer it to the plate. As I'm tipping the pan over, boom, it explodes. I got egg on my face. There was egg all over my right lens of my glasses. I was like, are we fucking really doing this? And I've had this before. You ever have this? Where there are a couple of events that happen in succession. Shout out to the Roys. And you think, oh no, everything is going wrong. And the only way to reset days like that is to go to sleep at the end of the day. However, you got to remember it's 6 a.m. at this point. I have a lot of day left. So I made a conscious decision. I was like, nothing else is going to go bad. I'm making sure of it. Then on the way to work, there were 2 fire trucks that passed by because there was a big car crash. And then when I was turning into work, there were 2 people outside of the building that had just had a car crash. Irrespective of the fire trucks I saw, there's car crashes everywhere. And I was like, okay. But that's happening to other people. Things are still going fine for me. It could just be the thunder and the egg thing, right? Shaky eggs. Hey, no big deal there. That's what my friend's trying to do every night. Okay. But then I get into the office, right? And this guy comes to my cube and he says, oh, hey, I saw your nameplate earlier. Gauruv. Hey, we worked together. He introduced himself. I was like, oh my God, yeah. I used to work with this guy about 2 years ago, pretty regularly. I was like, nice to meet you. And in just that instant, a guy over a cube from me goes, hey, guys, could you keep it down? I'm in a meeting. I was like, what is the point of being on site? The point of being on site, right, is to talk with people in real life. And then we did that the first time I did it. And then the guy, I didn't include this detail originally, but he shushed us. He goes, hey guys, shh, could you keep it down? Shh, shh, shh. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we here? But that's the thing, it's in-person collaboration that makes the magic happen. You think Disneyland would have all that magic, be the happiest place in the world, if no one was there? Well, yeah, actually, it would be, because then there would be no lines and no one to piss you off. So that'd actually be great. Yeah. That's why really famous celebrities that are super rich and, high schools on sober grad night will rent out the park so that people can just walk around it alone and won't be disturbed by people. So really, yeah, no, the people take away from the happiness. The more people you have, the less happy Disneyland gets. Think about it. Plus, I read a study. The more Mickey ears per capita, the less joy there is in that area. So if you increase more people in Disneyland, there'll be more Mickey ears. That's a more depressed place. Which is why, if you want to become a therapist, you should move to LA, just right outside. You can even set up shop in the Desert Inn right across the street from Disneyland. And you're not supposed to run a business out of a hotel, but I think if you pay a little bit under the desk, I think they'd let you do it, right? I think you can make up a pretty reputable practice in the Desert Inn or the Holiday Inn, maybe. There are a lot of inns, and that's the only inn you need to start up professionally as a therapist, psychologist. But the other thing that I saw, I was working at my desk, and I see across the way, there was a gentleman that came over, and he, cubicles they have the walls, and he put his arm on the cubicle and put his, like that. He was leaning over, he was like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, this should be illegal. A week ago, we were not allowed to do that. We weren't capable of doing that because we were home. But now there's these people and they set up shop right outside your cube and they go, hey, working hard or hardly working? Yeah. No, absolutely not. And it's a nefarious sight. It's mischief to the highest degree because they set up shop and they smile at you. And until you acknowledge them, they won't go away and the smile won't dissolve. They look like the fucking Cheshire Cat. Now, I know nothing about the Cheshire Cat. I know just about as much about the Cheshire Cat as I do football. But I know enough to say that, oh yeah, I've seen that before. Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. Again, I've never seen the film, never seen the flick, but I'm aware of its existence. Yeah, that non-binary cat that has evil intentions, I'm aware of it. The Cheshire Cat. It's all big and, hi, I'm a fucking cat. And that's what people look like when they set up shop right outside your goddamn cube. And you have to acknowledge them. They're like, hey, can I bother you for a second? Well, guess what? You already did. It's kind of like when someone says, hey, can I ask you a question? Well, you already did. Hey, guess what? There it was. Can I bother you? Well, mission accomplished, huh? Now, no one did that to me, but I saw it from a distance. And I thought, that's not right. I don't think we should be able to do that. Because it's too accessible. Oh, that's the benefit of being on site, Garv. Oh, you're right. But then they're going to do a little cafe run and then not work for the next 45 minutes. So really, is it more efficient? Because really, all that guy, he's not talking about work. He's just talking about his kids. He needs advice on his kids because he doesn't go to therapy. He earns enough to go to therapy. He won't, though. That's how it works. That's the beauty of a corporation. You just kind of siphon off microdoses of therapy. Can I get a hit of that? Can I get a... My wife doesn't listen to me. Oh, fuck. That felt good. Okay. God, I don't think my kids love me. It's probably because I don't show up to the baseball practice, but that can't be it. That can't be it. But that's what people do. They're like, hey, you want to walk and talk for a second? And then you go to walk to the cafe to get a stale bagel and watered down coffee. Also, they can complain about their personal lives. We're not talking about work. We're losing minutes on the clock. It's almost as effective as shitting during work hours, but at least then you're getting shit done. But I guess you're on your way to getting shit done, right? Because if someone wants to do a coffee run to talk about their personal lives, then that's kind of like the catalyst to getting shit done at work. Because then you drink the coffee and then you're going to be in that little man's room not too long after, huh? But then you're going to be in the bathroom and then they're going to be in the bathroom at the same time because you guys, your cycles have synced at that point, right? Your shit cycles, because you drink coffee and eat food at the same time. And so then when you're out there washing your hands, they follow behind you. You're a little younger, so the things work a little quicker. And then they're like, oh, hey, fancy catching you here, huh? And then also the weird thing about work is for all my guys out there, what's up, guys? How's it going? What's up? What's up, my dudes? When you're pissing in a urinal, I have this weird, what is it? There's a conflict. I don't know what to do in this situation. You see, when you go to the bathroom, Sometimes someone you know will walk in. You don't want to be a loud pisser, right? And I think the British use that as an insult. Oh, that's a loud pisser. I don't know what. That wasn't even an accent. That was like offensive. That's sometimes people do an accent and it's like so good you're like, oh, that's actually funny. That gets a pass. That was just bad. Not only was that wasn't offensive because it was like, oh, that's an insult to that culture. It was offensive because it was like that was a bad attempt. It's kind of like when you see someone, they get them up there in NBA games. They're like, well, shoot a free throw for a chance at $10,000, but you can only spend the $10,000 at Mattress Firm. And when you get there, they don't let you try any of the mattresses. No, you got to do it. We're just off the scent of it. You get to smell the mattresses. You get to get really close to them. And then we're going to bring in your wife and she's going to shoo you away because she's like, no, you don't get to sleep with me because you said that shit about Taylor Swift, which isn't inherently bad, but it has a lot of misogynistic roots. So no, get the fuck away from my duvet. But you get those people out there and they just give this this abysmal shot and you're like, oh, that was kind of offensive to look at. I feel like he should pay us some kind of Mattress Firm reparations because if he made us go through all of that. I didn't like that. But all my dudes out there, when you're pissing in a urinal, they have the little mat in the urinal, right? It's supposed to suppress the piss. It's like a silencer for your hand cannon. You know what I'm saying? But if you do that, it's really loud. Sorry, it doesn't silence it. It just reduces the splash damage. But then if you shoot in the porcelain, right? It's very quiet. It's muted, but it's a really dirty job. Isn't that weird? Because there's a lot of splashback when you shoot at the porcelain. But if you shoot at the little mat, then it all keeps it contained. But the urinal cake, sometimes they have them. It absorbs it all. But then it's really loud. So it's like, yeah, you're doing a good thing, but at what cost, right? And so I wonder if you're in a bathroom with someone, which way do you go? Do you risk the splashback, the shrapnel? Or do you go loud and proud, but you're clean? You know what I'm saying? Also, whenever I walk into the bathroom, I don't know why people do this. They always take the tall urinal. See, the office I work in is small enough to where they don't have a big bathroom. So there's just two urinals. There's a tall one and a short one. And so whenever I walk in the bathroom with someone, they always take the tall one. Like I'm not 6'3", and they're not 5'7". I'm like, what do we, really? Okay, yeah, no, sure. And so it's a long distance, right? For it to travel. High velocity. I took physics in college and high school. So by the time it gets there, there's a lot of blowback, right? So I gotta almost, right? I gotta like be back here with my legs and then just, it's almost like I'm doing downward dog, but like an upward dog. It's like it's like a halfway dog. It's like a small dog. It's like a corgi, some might say. It's like a medium dog. It's like a beagle before the owner feeds it enough to make it fat. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, for all my guys out there. What do you do? Do you go with the porcelain and go silent, but really make a mess of the crime scene, or do you go loud and proud and walk away with your hands clean? I don't know. I'm still trying to work it out. Basically, the happy medium I found is just go to a bathroom in a different building. And I'm not even talking about another building in your company. I mean, go across the street to the subway and be like, hey, is there a bathroom? They're like, you have to buy something. I'm like, fine, I'll take one of your fucking cookies. And they're like, you think Jared Vogel was eating cookies? I was like, I don't think I want to model my actions around Jared Vogel. Okay, guys? Fucking ring up the cookie and I'll be out in a second. But that seems to be the fix. You got to go in a bathroom somewhere else, away from anyone that you would know, because that's bad. The other thing you could run into is you see the shoes of the people you work with. But I don't know if people are that attentive. I can tell you the shoes that every person on my team wears. And that's not because I'm like, oh, I want to watch out for him when I go to the bathroom. I'm just observant enough to be like, oh, I wonder what shoes they wear. And so I know. But I don't know. Are they doing that? And then are they looking under? Like I said, they're not as tall. So maybe do they have a better vantage point of the shoes? They can probably clearly see, right? Also, I wear my name badge on my belt loop thing, one of them, right? The one that's just to the left of my crotch. And when you lower your pants, the fucking badge, I take my badge off when I go to the bathroom, because I'm like, if I lower my pants, I don't want anyone to be like, oh yeah, that's who it is. I want you to have to earn it. I want you to have to be check out my shoes and be like, oh, that's him. I walked past. I was behind this guy in the hallway, and then this guy was walking against us, towards us, and the guy that was walking towards us, talking to the guy right in front of me, he goes, "Oh, hey man, how's it going? It's been so long. How are you?" And the guy in front of me, no hesitation, goes, "Hey man, I'm just really miserable right now. I feel like I could throw up at any second. I'm actually heading home. Would love to catch up sometime, but just this is not the time for me. I am in a bad way." And I was like, wow, someone's homesick. I can relate. I wish I was home right now. But no, I was like, that's what's going on. We're just surrounding ourselves with a bunch of people that are about to explode. And I don't say that, as a total joke, because the other thing I've noticed, and this is my biggest gripe about surrounding myself with people in real life again, I forgot. I think people are maybe more decent outside of work or something, but I forgot how many people cough into their own hands. That's crazy. The amount of hand coughing I see. Hi, how's it going? Oh, I'm sorry. What? What are we doing? We're so far removed from 2020 that people they don't care anymore. It's not a thing. Remember when you had to cough in like 2020, 2021? You would try to like hold it. I remember being out in public, late 2021. So we're all back in public, but it's still a little bit of a touchy situation, right? And I would have a cough in public and go, well, I wouldn't use my hand. I would go, it would feel like the cough was like attacking the inside of my throat. And I would hold it because I'm like, I'm a decent person. I'm not going to put it out there. But now decency has left the building, which run after decency because they stole a flat screen TV. I don't know how they managed to do that, but track them down. But now no one gives a fuck. It's great. When you used to cough in public in 2021, people would look at you like you just said a slur. You would cough and people would be like, excuse you. Whoa, you think that's okay? You think that's okay to do around all these people? Oh, okay. You're going to hell, buddy. But now people just do it like it's okay. It's like the opposite of what happened with slurs, right? When I was in elementary school, people were saying slurs just because someone didn't do their homework. You didn't do your homework, like I was getting called slurs for losing, or sorry, in elementary school, I was getting called slurs for beating people at four corners, at pickup basketball, at tetherball. I beat someone in tetherball. They called me a slur. Now that's not okay. But it's now okay to cough openly. We're going reverse. I don't like where we're going as a society. Because like I said, now when you meet people, you gotta shake the hand because it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going? Well, I'm not gonna touch you now. They're like, no, touch me. I'm like, see how weird this feels to be saying at work? Like we have an HR department specifically for this, but somehow I'm still in the wrong. Like you're somehow in the right. Like I have to shake your hand because apparently that's the decent thing to do. I also forgot how much people say the word leverage. You gotta leverage things. I didn't realize there was that many things to leverage until I went back in the office. I forgot how much things it's like a fucking seesaw over there, with the amount of things we gotta leverage. I was in a meeting. This guy said leverage 4 times in 1 minute. I didn't even know you could say it that many times in that amount of time, just alone. But he like worked it in. So yeah. And I want to, right? Going on site, it's about learning things. And I think there was a takeaway for me. I think we can leverage stuff here. So how about we leverage the viewers of this podcast to leave likes and comments? How about that? Let's leverage this viewer base to increase engagement and therefore expand viewership, which will leverage the new viewership for more likes and comments. It'll be right. How about you tell 3 people about this podcast and then they'll watch, comment, like, and then each of them will tell 3 people. It'll be a whole I think we can leverage this thing. I think there's a future here. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if anyone can come up with a model of this. I'll draw a diagram. I'll send it out. I'll CC you all on the email, and then waterfall is appropriate because I would love for everyone to leverage this new strategy. How about that? I feel like, oh, also, sorry. I also hate getting texts now after work. I forgot that was the last thing I needed to mention on the work thing. Um, that's enough. I interact with people too much during the day that now I get a text from a friend like it's some kind of inconvenience. Like they've done a wrong thing to me. I'll be home. It'll be like 7 p.m. I'll get a text. Hey, how's it going? Ah, what now? What do you, what do you need? No, why are we doing this? No, 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 no. I finished all my work for today. Don't make me respond to this. Like it's a fucking email. So yeah, now this is bad. I don't even really hang out with people much, but this is gonna make that much worse. Mentally, I'm busy for the next 7 years. Eh, ask me about next year's Labor Day. I don't know. I know we just had our schedule something for 51 weeks from now. How about that? Let's leverage. Let's leverage these predictable holidays to hit our social. I don't even know what to say. Anything you say after the word leverage doesn't matter. Let's leverage the grocery stores so we can fucking expedite checkout times. What? I don't know, but I said leverage in there, so who gives a fuck? Something I realize is that a glass of milk sometimes can seem like too much to drink. But then I will eat like 4 bowls of cereal, which is easily like 4 cups of milk, and that's somehow doable. It's more food and more milk, but somehow more doable. How does that make sense? Like, if you're like, hey, guy, if you want a glass of milk, I'd be like, why would you say that to me? But then if you're like, would you like 3 bowls of cinnamon toast crunch? I'd be like, oh, I could go for some dessert. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess while we're at it, sure, man, lay it down. I wouldn't want to upset the captain, now would I? I wouldn't want to upset you guys either. And I didn't give song recommendations last week. So sorry. So I'll give you 2 here. Man I Need by Olivia Dean. Love her. Been watching a lot of interviews with her. Her Lad Bible video where she's tasting treats. Amazing. She's stunning. Fucking love her. And then Past It by Lexa Gates. Sorry, I couldn't even read my own note. But Man I Need by Olivia Dean, Past It by Lexa Gates. Lexa Gates makes stunning, amazing music videos. I would check them out if you haven't already. And I would like to thank you for checking out this podcast if you haven't already. Who's that for? I don't fucking know. But something I would love for to happen is if you could leave a comment and a like on this video. It would mean so much to me, huh, team? Could we leverage your support in such a way, huh? You think we could? And then we'll circle back next week. Follow back on that. You think we could table it for now? But no, no, no. It's a critical P1 issue. Let's get it on. Let's get it done right now. Huh? Hey, let's leverage the moment, huh? Strike while the iron's hot. Thanks, team. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I have to go back to the office again this week. I keep talking about it like it's like, oh no, it's a few months. Just something I'll have to do. No, this is it now. This is all it'll be this now forever. Keep talking about it, like, oh yeah, I'll have to do it for a couple weeks, and then they'll like, nope, they're not. There's no going back. And if you're a viewer of this podcast, there's no going back. We're locked in forever. You and I. Shake my hand. Let's come on this journey together. Just like my friend's coming on his wife. All right, sorry. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I will talk to you next week. Okay? Bye.